And welcome into the Box Score Network NFL preview show for week 5. Thank you all so much for joining us. We are back with the usual suspects. I'm Simon Short. We have Ben Parker, Austin Freed, and Parker Davila. We will hear from all of those guys as we get going. But we're here to preview week 5, 1 month into the NFL season. Things are starting to feel real. Let's start with our game of the week. We have the Buffalo Bills at the Houston Texans. Houston is favored by 1 point. Austin, let's start with you. What are you looking for in this game?
I'm looking for the Texans to build off it was a tough week last week playing a divisional game against the Jaguars, and the Jaguars put up a fight, but the Texans come out on top in the end, which is what we'd all predicted. But they're gonna want to get right there. The Bills are also gonna want to get right. So I'm looking for this to be a high energy, high scoring game. Ultimately, I am going to be picking the Bills here, even though game is being played in Houston. I think what uh, Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs and all those weapons could potentially do to this Bills secondary does scare me. But assuming that the Bills can do whatever they need to do, keep those guys even just at a good performance, then not go crazy, I think the Bills can win this game.
Ben.
This is my most funnest game of the week. This is the one I wouldn't want to miss out of the whole slate. This is it. And I'm going to feed off of what Austin said a little bit to some degree. I think it's a back and forth game. I wouldn't necessarily look for 35-30, but I think the Houston Texans are good for 24. My problem is I'm a little worried about this Bills offense because, like I said last week, the Ravens secondary matched up pretty good athletically, just athletically, against this Bills wide receiving option, if you will. So do the Houston Texans. They're not as good as the Ravens secondary, but athletically, they can really challenge this Bills wide receiver group. So I'm going to have Houston 24 and the Bills 23. It's a fun game, could go either way, but with Houston at home, I'll take the Texans.
Parker.
I'm kind of with both you guys, but I'm gonna side with the Bills. I think the Bills are gonna win the game, but I'm with Austin. With Jags had a tough week last week. I'm not saying the Bills didn't, but the Jags had a tough week, and I think this is a good bounce back spot for the Bills, more than it is like a good keep the ball rolling moment for the Texans. So I'm gonna take the Bills in this one. I think Josh Allen is obviously the better quarterback. CJ Stroud's going to make it interesting. It's going to be close, but give me the Bills.
So what I'm looking for in this one is I liked how Austin put it, how both teams kind of bounce back from last week, some tough games for the Bills. The one hole in their defense in this identity, this era of the defense has been just like a run game that can run right at you and take over the game. And a couple of you guys mentioned that last week with Derrick Henry, and obviously that's what happened starting from the very first play of the game. The Texans don't have a run game like that. They're one of the worst run games in the league, especially on first down. So I don't think but I don't think the Bills are going to have their weakness exposed in the same way. And then on the other end of that, Houston is not the same kind of elite run defense on the other side like Baltimore is. They're currently at sixth in EPA allowed per rush. And the Bills have been leaning on the run game under Joe Brady now. That's something they like to go to. They're one of the highest amount of first down runs in the league. They like to set up their drives with the running game, and the Texans haven't been as stout against the run, especially as much as the Ravens are so far this season. So I think the Bills can get their groove back going in this one. I have the Bills in this one as well. Should mention a few key injuries for both teams. Khalil Shakir, wide receiver for the Bills, is out. Taylor Rapp, safety, is out. Ed Oliver, defensive tackle, is out, all for the Bills. But wide receiver Tank Dell should be making his way back in this one. He missed last week's game with an injury. He should be back for the Texans this week. So it should be a good one. The Texans are getting back to full strength. The Bills are a little banged up, but I think it's a good matchup for the Bills overall. All right, let's get to the rest of our picks now. We do have a London game to discuss, but before we do, I told you guys I wanted to get a little bit of data for everybody here on how we do when we all kind of either coordinate or we have some lone rangers on the prowl trying to make their picks. So here's what we've got going. I'm not going to go through everything that we have in terms of who picks with who and who does well on their own, stuff like that, but just some key ones to point out. When we all agree We are 19 and 11 through 4 weeks. So that's a 63.33% hit rate. That's one of the best marks that we have on this whole sheet. So we definitely do best when we're all together. I'm going to say that that's because teamwork and the power of friendship, and not just because it's obvious when we all pick the same thing, and that just means it's a clear winner. As opposed to somebody betting on their own. And that's down to 52, almost 53% if there's a Lone Ranger out there making their own pick. I will say Austin is leading or trailing in that category with a 40% hit rate, but we all know what that is. No need to discuss it. He's doing his thing. He's doing his service that he needs to do. And then a couple of pairings that are really, really strong for us. Austin and Ben. When Austin and Ben are on one side of the coin and me and Parker are on the other, Austin and Ben succeed. They are 3-1 together, compared to 1-3 when it's me and Parker together. And then Ben and Parker. Something about that name, Ben Parker, just works. I don't know what it is, but when Ben and Parker are together, they are also 3-1. Or yeah, 3-1. And so me and Austin on the other end of that are 1-3. So keep that in mind when you guys are listening. If we all agree and make a pick, we have a better than 60% chance of hitting that. If somebody, in particular, Austin, is on his own, that maybe isn't going to work out so well. But if Austin and Ben or Ben and Parker are together on a bet, that might be a bet you want to make as well. All right, with that in mind, let's hit our picks of the week. We have the Jets at the Vikings. This game, again, is in London. Austin, what say you?
Give me the Jets. Thank you very much. Easy. Move on.
Way to go, Ben.
Austin's work is done. Congratulations, Austin. I'll take the Vikings to win here. They're the hotter team. Listen, that at some point Sam Darnold's going to have his game, right? Where you're like, oh, okay, that's Sam again. But right now, they're hitting all the right buttons, and the Jets aren't. So while I do think the Jets will do some things different, I think they'll get more aggressive. Still, give me the Vikings to win.
Parker.
I'm gonna also take Minnesota as well. I think the Vikings are, like Ben saying, the hotter team. Jets just aren't doing it for me either. Very underwhelming to start the season for me from what I was expecting preseason. So give me Minnesota.
You know what doesn't sound like a good solution to things being a mess and your team being ugly? Going to play in a different country
Yeah,
for the first time of the
awful.
season. That doesn't sound like it's the move, especially against this Vikings defense. I'm gonna have some stats on the defense and everything later on, but give me the Vikings, and there's your red alert, everybody. Austin is a Lone Ranger on one side, so just keep that in mind. Next game here, we have the Panthers going to Chicago to play the Bears. The Bears are 4-point favorites against Andy Dalton and co. Austin, where are you going on this?
Oh man, I do love me some Andy Dalton, so it's hard to go against him in my heart, but I am going to take the Bears here. I think as the season gets on, you're going to see the Bears start clicking more and more. Give me the Bears.
Ben.
Tight game here. Either team has a chance to win, but give me Chicago 24-20. As the week has moved on, I've upgraded my kind of over under total there a little bit higher than it was, but give me Bears to win by that 4.
Parker.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Andy Dalton here. It's revenge game part 2.
Ooh.
I think he gets to make up for maybe what he couldn't accomplish last week and at least show one of his teams up. So give me Indy and Chicago.
And he's got a lot of revenge tours going on, doesn't he?
Yeah, he gets to play Dallas later in the season. Me and Peyton talked about this on our pod for just a moment, but yeah, he has like 3 or 4 games this year where he plays his old teams. So
It would be the ultimate Andy Dalton move to win all these quote unquote revenge games where he was just the backup or bridge, but not be able to beat the big one, which would have been the Bengals. That's peak Andy Dalton, and I do need it to happen. That said, I'm also going with the Bears. I think their offense is slowly, very slowly starting to figure some things out. I think this Panthers defense will continue to help them do that. Game number 3, we have the Baltimore Ravens at the Cincinnati Bengals. For a divisional matchup where the Bengals are trying to get back into it. The Ravens are 2.5-point favorites. Austin, what do you got?
The line's been moving. I've been seeing it shift a lot, but I am going to take the Ravens. I think they showed us last week what they want to be the rest of the season. This is a tough divisional matchup. I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Ben.
For a whole lot of reasons, I really want Cincinnati to win this game, but I don't think it's going to happen. Give me Baltimore. I'm designating this a Grim Reaper game. If the Bengals lose, their postseason hopes are done. It's not that Burrow can't lead them back, but the offensive line and the defensive line both are really struggling. And to me, that's a huge problem. Ravens win.
Parker.
Yeah, I'm with Ben on that one. I think that the strongest point of this Baltimore team is their defensive line and offensive line more either power football. I mean, that's just where they're going to attack you. So I'm going to take Baltimore in this one by a lot.
I'm taking the Ravens as well. Top 2-3 run team in the NFL. The Bengals are a bottom 2-3 run defense in the NFL. This is a pretty easy one for me. Clean sweep for the Baltimore Ravens. The Miami Dolphins are going to the New England Patriots in a game that if you are watching this and you're watching this game, hit comment, please. I just want to know who the sickos are that are watching this game. The Miami Dolphins are currently 1-point favorites. Austin, what do you got?
It's me. I'm the one watching.
Give me
I'm
that
actually
comment.
I'm gonna take the Patriots here. It's gonna be interesting. There's not starting Ramondre Stevenson this week, who's being punished for his fumble injuries. I think he's fumbled in every single game this season. So Antonio Gibson gets the start. We'll see how much juice he has. On the Miami side, they have been the worst team in football, I think, since Tua went down. Like I just don't think they have the capabilities of playing good football right now. So give me the Pats.
Ben.
It might be me as well watching this game because the Buccaneers Falcons game got flexed up. That was on Thursday, and the Chiefs Saints game is on. So I may catch this instead of our usual NFC South. But this is the ain't winning no beauty contest game because this is going to be ugly. My gosh, nobody wants to see this game. Give me the Patriots 13-12 in a tight one.
Parker.
I feel like this is going to be a clean sweep, so I guess I'm going to go with it. So I'm going to take the Patriots as well. This one's real tough for me, especially without Ramondre playing. But I'm going to take Jacoby Brissett to win his revenge game as well this week.
Yeah, give me New England until Miami can prove that they can put a viable offense out there. I don't trust anything that they're doing right now. I think Snoop Huntley can be a good quarterback, but I think it's going to take some more time based on what happened last week. Browns at Commanders. In this next game here, the Commanders are currently 3-point favorites at home. Austin, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, this is just pretty easily Washington to me. The Browns are not playing good football. If the Dolphins have been the worst team over the last, call it 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then Browns are probably there just next to them. Browns are not looking good. They're having a lot of offensive line struggles. I think the Commander train keeps on trucking.
Ben.
I'm trying hard to get on this Commanders bandwagon right now. So until further notice, like Austin said, the Browns look sick, man. I mean, they just look sick. I think the problem's at quarterback more than anything. But give me the Commanders to win here.
Parker.
This is a real tight one for me because either the Commanders win by 40 or they lose by 10. I can't quite tell what's going to happen here. It really depends on what Cleveland Browns team you get, and I'm going to bet that we're going to get a decent one. So I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns to win this one. I'm going to go against the crowd here and see if I can get a win on the pick'em.
I'm gonna go with the Commanders. I think they're playing too sound right now, and that defense looked like it took a turn last week. Whereas this Browns team is just a mess right now. I am very curious to see Jaden Daniels against a above average defense right now. That's all the Browns are. That sounds disparaging for them, but it is a compliment. It's still an above average defense for all they're working through. It'll be interesting to see Daniels play against that, but I'm taking the Commanders as well. Colts at Jaguars, another Rock'em Sock'em AFC South game. The Jaguars are currently favored by 3 points. I think this is kind of nuts to be favored by 3 points for the Jaguars, personally. What do you guys think? Austin, what do you think about this game?
I'm actually very intrigued to see what goes on. Anthony Richardson went down. Joe Flacco's looking to step in. I love me some Joe Flacco. I think he's actually favored to outthrow Trevor Lawrence in terms of just pure yards, but I think that has a lot to do with Jonathan Taylor being out this week. And I think that Jonathan Taylor injury is the reason that we see the Jags favored. And I have to agree with Vegas on this one. I think Jonathan Taylor's injury is going to be tough to get a win, in a tough divisional game in Jacksonville.
Ben?
I love Joe Flacco. He should be playing for Cleveland right now. And if not Cleveland, he should be playing for the Dolphins right now. Instead, he's over here winning games for the Colts. Give me the Colts in a tight one, 20-19.
Parker?
There's like 6 places I could see Joe Flacco being, and I might like to look a little better other than just two. But I am going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars. The starting quarterback being out, starting running back being out. It's just hard to take a team that's down that bad, especially on the offense side of the ball, and their defense isn't great either. So give me Jacksonville.
I'm gonna go with the Colts. The Jaguars aren't showing me enough yet, and things have been set up for them, and they haven't been able to take advantage just yet. Plus, this Colts team is figuring some stuff out defensively, despite all the injuries. They've survived on that end, just about as well as you could have. And this Jaguars defense is one of the worst in the entire league. So I think Joe Flacco could be able to pick him apart just sitting back there doing his thing. So I've got the Colts in this one. We already did Bills Texans, so let's move into the later slate of games here. We have the Raiders at the Broncos. Raiders obviously going to be without Devontae Adams. I believe also still without Max Crosby. So it is looking tough for the Raiders. Austin, what say you?
Yeah, this one's not going to be pretty, but I do expect the Broncos to come out on the winning side of this football game. So, I mean, Sean Payton, I think, is going to have to coach his tail off, but he can do it.
Let's see. All right, Ben.
This game, the winner will be 3-2. So congratulations to whoever wins. I didn't expect that. I really want to pick the Raiders here. I really just want to see it happen, but I can't find a good reason to do it. You mentioned the Raiders being banged up, Simon, but they also have to go up against the Broncos defense that just isn't allowing passing yards. And they're doing that with either Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell, and they're doing that without Devontae Adams. So I can't even get on the Raiders being aggressive and playing hard and winning that way. So give me the Broncos here in a tight, low-scoring matchup.
Parker.
I'm going to take the Broncos too. At home, Mile High Stadium, not an easy place to play. Sean Payton seems to be actually making a difference in Denver this year versus last year with the rookie quarterback as well. Like Ben said, the defense is doing what they need to do. It's a no-fly zone in Denver so far this season. So I'm going to take Denver as well.
Yeah, give me Denver. This team is going crazy on defense, this is probably the biggest surprise I think on the season for me so far. This Broncos defense, how well they've played, they're blitzing their freaking tails off. I mean, they have a higher blitz rate than the Vikings, and they're number one in EPA per play allowed on defense. So go ahead and give me the Broncos to keep this team down. Let's hit our next game here. We have the Cardinals at 49ers. Austin, what do you got?
Man, I really want to take the Cardinals here, but I can't do it. I've already kind of throwing away one of my picks every week. I can't afford to do too many of those else besides the one guaranteed one a week. So I'm going to take the smart play here. Going to take the 49ers.
I should mention the 49ers are favored by 7.5. Ben, what do you got?
I like the 49ers to win. They've been the better team so far, but I am looking for the Cardinals to kind of show us again what they showed us early in the season. It's that, hey, we can compete and we can score a lot. So keeping the score tighter and especially doing that, Simon, against the 49ers defense that you've mentioned more than once isn't looking crisp so far. Maybe they get it later in the season, but not so far. 49ers in a tight one.
Parker.
I'm going to take the Cardinals here. I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to take Arizona. It's just the Niners didn't look great when they've played like offenses that can put up at least 20. You know, they played New England last week who couldn't put up 5 against, you know, a bunch of second graders. So it's real hard to give San Fran a whole lot of credit. Plus they had a defensive touchdown last week that probably wouldn't happen against a better offense either. So I'm going to take Arizona division game in San Fran. And it's something I'd love to see. So give me Kyler to get a big win here.
You guys know I want to take the Cardinals. You all know that by now. You know I would love to do this because I still don't trust this 49ers defense. But everybody, I'm in last place on these pick'ems for a reason. And it's because I'm following my heart too much. So I'm going to go with the 49ers to big boy it up and win the game that they're supposed to. They're favored by 7.5. Even if this defense doesn't work out, if I have to take offense for offense, shootout for shootout, I'm going to take the 49ers in this one. So give me the 49ers to win this game. Packers at Rams. The depleted LA Rams are playing at home against the Green Bay Packers. Austin, what do you got?
Jordan Love back in the saddle for Green Bay. I expect the offense to be clicking and moving really efficiently against this Rams defense, who potentially could have a shot, but I like the Packers too much in this one.
Ben.
Rams have a shot. They're at home with McVay, so that does give them a shot. But I like the Packers with Jordan Love back, as you mentioned, Austin. But the Packers running game has been among the best in the NFL, top 3 right now, against a Rams defense that is giving up more rushing yards than most teams in the NFL. I think they're among the worst, 3 or 4 right now. So give me the Packers in a fairly comfortable game here.
Parker.
I'm going to take the Packers as well. I think we're going to see a lot more second half Packers this week than we did first half Packers of last week. I think just like Austin said, Jordan Love's just now coming back. That first half of football probably isn't easy to come back full speed after being out for a few weeks. So I'm going to take Green Bay. And honestly, Matt LaFleur has proven himself as a head coach. He's one of the guys with McVay, with Shanahan, that's kind of in that conversation now. So I think the coaching matchup's great as well. I just think Green Bay comes away with the win based off health.
Yeah, give me Green Bay. This is for Jordan Love coming back. This is kind of like getting to put the training wheels back on the bike a little bit to go from having to play the Vikings in his first game back last week to playing this Rams defense right now. Give me the Packers all the way as well. Giants at Seahawks. We have the Seattle Seahawks are favored by 7 against the Giants. Austin, what do you got?
Yeah, Malik Neighbors likely out with a concussion is still the news that I've been seeing. So
Yep.
I don't think the Giants have a chance at that point.
Ben.
I'm in the same boat against the Fighting Simon Shorts here of Seattle. I don't think the Giants have a whole heck of a lot of chance here, so give me Seattle.
Park.
Man, these clean sweeps gonna keep on coming, huh?
There's a lot this week.
I'm gonna take Seattle as well. I'm with Austin, man. I just don't see what the Giants could do offensively to even remotely keep up with the Seahawks without Malik Neighbors in the offense.
Yeah, give me Seattle as well. I'm looking for Gino to rip these guys apart. Cowboys at Steelers. We got a little rivalry game here for this show. We have the Steelers at home. I believe, is it still favored by 2.5? Favored by 3, up to 3 now. Favored by 3. So Austin, what say you?
Give me the Cowboys. This is a game that I think the Cowboys have to win to kind of prove to themselves that, hey, like, we're still a good football team here. We've hit a couple road bumps, but get a win over a very quality Steelers team who is slightly, no offense, Simon, but slightly overplaying their expectations. And
That's our tagline, baby. It's literally what we say walking into the year.
Yeah, so give me the Cowboys.
Ben.
Darn you, Austin. I should have expected it, but you stole my take. So I have absolutely no analytical reason here to pick the Cowboys because it all looks like Steelers, but I'm going to pick the Cowboys. I just figured Dak Prescott has a big passing day because they need it. You mentioned it. It's desperation time. So on prime time, give it the Cowboys. That's an emotional pick more than anything, but that's just what I'm feeling.
Parker. You got to do it.
Okay, no, I like the Steelers by like a touchdown and maybe like 12 points. This is basically now if you were talking to me at a bar and there's no recording
going on, hedge. That's all this is.
Yeah, no, it's not at all what this is. If you're talking to me outside this podcast, like, yeah, I'm probably going, dude, Cowboys got this. But because I have to be serious, I gotta help the listeners, whatever, and I gotta be in for the long haul and the pick'ems. Dude, the Steelers, like, they are just really good at everywhere where the Cowboys are really bad. And where the Cowboys are really good, the Steelers still aren't that bad. Like their defense is awesome. The Cowboys offense is great, but our defense is something we've been relying on for the last couple of years. And there's no Micah, there's no DeMarcus Lawrence. We're missing like 3 corners in our cornerback room. So like it's really hard for me to take Dallas in Pittsburgh Sunday night. Like I'm going to take Pittsburgh.
I am taking the Steelers as well. This is a get right game though, or at least this kind of not a get right game, a put up or shut up game for the Steelers run defense or rushing offense. If they can't do it against this Cowboys defense, it might not work out this season from a run game perspective, but I think even without that, the Steelers can win. Their passing offense has done really well, and like you said, no DeMarcus Lawrence, no Micah Parsons. I think Fields is going to have enough time to get done what he needs to get done in the pocket. Saints at Chiefs on Monday Night Football. The Chiefs are favored by, it was 5.5. Let's double check this. Did that go up? Nope, 5.5 still for the Chiefs being favored. Austin, what do you got?
I did like the Saints until I saw the news Taysom Hill was out. That just really limits
That's
them
where
and
we're
what
at.
they that's what it
That's where
limits
we're at.
them when they're in the the short red zone. Once they're like, on the 5 and in, like Taysom Hill is that guy. And that I mean, it's gonna be tough, I think, if they get down in that point. I think the Chiefs defense is really solid. The Saints, this smells like an upset, but I've got to, play the smart play here and take the Chiefs.
Ben.
I like the Chiefs here in a tight one. I figure it's low scoring, conservative style. I do want to see the Saints step up here on offense. Clint Kubiak, especially, start hitting that stuff that's open over the middle. It will be open over the middle again with the Chiefs because they like to blitz a lot. Chris Jones will create a bunch of problems up the middle. That stuff is open. Teams are taking away the deep spot. The Alvin Kamara run around the tight tackles. So Saints need to step up. Chris Olave over the middle, Foster Moreau over the middle. That stuff is open. They need to start hitting it, just like we saw Kirk Cousins do on Thursday night with the guy whose name I forgot. But anyway,
Pitts.
no, not even Pitts.
London.
London.
London went crazy.
Yeah, London had like 13, 14 targets. That's the amount of targets that Olave really needs to be up at. Yep.
Parker.
All right. Again, against the grain, I'm going to take the Saints. I do not have that much faith in this Chiefs team, dude. They're missing Isaiah Pacheco. They're missing Rashee Rice. Like, I've seen so many pictures of Devontae Adams in a Chiefs uniform. It's not even funny. And uh, dude, I just think they're gonna run out of gas at some point. Like, they're all one possession games so far. Like, we talked about it last week, the two pass interferences. They barely got by the Chargers, who are also beat up and didn't look great. So I got to take the Saints, man. I don't care if Taysom's playing or not. They got a great running back. They got a couple great pass catchers in Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave, and Derek Carr's playing good. Start out the season. So give me New Orleans, man.
The Saints are a top 10 defense by pretty much anything you want to look at. This Kansas City offense is certainly middling right now. They're playing ball control. They're kind of playing pretty conservative. They don't have the run game figured out just yet to match. The Saints can be an explosive offense any given play. They can pull off a 60, 80-yard touchdown that the Chiefs feel kind of probably jealous of right now. They can scratch and claw through this thing and the Saints could come back and one play them and take the lead. So give me the Chiefs. That is our picks. We have let's see, the standings are Ben is 35 and 21. He's in first. Parker's 33 and 23 in second. Austin is beating me. He's 30 and 26 now after a good week, and I'm 29 and 27. Feel like I didn't get any reactions on throwing the Chiefs out there. I just want to make sure everybody knows that I'm picking the Chiefs. All right, let's get to our bets of the week. Austin, what's the first thing you want to throw out there?
So I was deciding if I want to do my fancy parlay first or do my normal bet first. I'm gonna go with my normal bet, which is still plus money. It's Sam Darnold and Aaron Rodgers to throw for over 500 pass yards. This is a game in a special location. This one's playing across the pond over there, I think, and I think they're gonna try and put on a show for the out of country, the international viewers. So that's going to be a plus 190. I'm going to bet 6.01 goats worth. I don't know how we're doing the cents or there, so I think just 6.01 goats worth is the best way to dictate that. Again, that's plus 190, so that's to win 11.42 goats worth.
So for everyone at home, Austin took over the sheet this week, and so now the change is being involved, and I'm gonna let his brain take care of all that. That's all him. I don't know what any of that is. Ben, what's your first bet?
Austin, I just want to know that 0.01 goats worth. That's going to be a milk or cheese, right? We're not going to,
No, that's
dismember the goat in
it's
any way?
it's just the hoof. It's
Oh, God, that's okay. All right, I'm actually going to be along the same lines as Austin here. I'm picking Aaron Rodgers over 275 passing yards, and my odds there are 360 at 5 goats worth. My thinking is, I love the Brian Flores defense, but it has a tendency at times to give up a lot of yards, not a lot of points. And the Jets need to get after it here. The Jets have been fooling around for 4 weeks. They need to get aggressive, get after it. That means let Aaron Rodgers loose, throw the freaking football, get after it. I figure he can get a lot of passing yards, even if they don't necessarily score a lot of points, which I'm not expecting them to against this Brian Flores defense. So Aaron Rodgers over 275 passing yards.
Parker.
All right, well, I'm gonna start with my crazy parlay first. I'm gonna have a 5-legger this week, and a little different than last week. Took a lot of underdogs. This one is like I like all these bets to more than likely hit. I'm gonna take Minnesota money line at -142, Baltimore -2.5 against the Bengals at -112, Washington money line against Cleveland at -148. Jags money line -170 against the Colts, and the Seahawks money line at -325 against the Giants. I'm putting 5 goats worth on it to win 56.13 goats worth. It's a plus 1,022 bet, and I like all these to hit. There's not very many scenarios I see them not hitting.
You're gonna throw the Jags in again after last week? That feels good.
Dude, it looked great until like 2:45. Like at 250, I would have said, Simon, if I give you I'll give you $1 share of my goats worth. You'd have been like, yeah, I'm in. Everything else looked great.
Oh man, sicko, we love it. All right, I'm also gonna go over the pond for this one, and I'm gonna look at the Vikings defense after what Aaron Rodgers went through last week against Denver, and I'm gonna take Andrew Van Ginkel over 0.25 sacks for plus 105. This Vikings team is leading the league in sacks. And they are second in blitz rate, just behind those Broncos who had 5 sacks on Aaron Rodgers last week. And I went back and looked. 8 of Rodgers' 10 sacks on the season have come from a defensive lineman. And let's see, Andrew Van Ginkel has 3 sacks on the year, one in each of the first 3 games, but didn't have one last week. So I think he's due to get after Aaron Rodgers in this one. So I just need half a sack from Andrew Van Ginkel for this to hit at plus 105. Austin, what's your next bet?
So I'm trying to claw back and get back to 100 goats worth. I'm starting with 76.01. So I did a little math, found a bet and an amount that would get me back to exactly 100 goats worth if I hit both of them. So this one is a parlay, 2
Never
bets.
gone wrong.
Derrick Henry to score a touchdown anytime. I think that one I'm really confident with that one. And then my second one is in a low scoring game, which I don't like, but it's Devon Achane to score a touchdown or Jalen Polk. So if either of those guys score a touchdown, that part of the leg or that leg of the parlay hits, and then Derrick Henry touchdowns the other, that's at plus 165. And I'm going to bet 7.62 goats worth. So if both those hit, I'll be back at 100.
I love what we do here, guys. I just love it. I love it. Ben, what do you got?
I mentioned earlier that Packers offense, good running game going against the Rams defense, which is not very good at stopping the run right now. So I'm going to pull off Emmanuel Wilson, who is at the moment the Packers' backup running back. Josh Jacobs, the lead horse, is having a phenomenal season so far, really doing great. But I've got Emmanuel Wilson at over 40 rushing yards. I can get him at plus 185 right there, and that's 5 goats worth. The reason I like it here, I figure even in a close game, Emmanuel Wilson is now getting 40% of the snaps right now, even in tight games over the past couple of weeks. So even in a close game, he's got a good chance here at 40 yards. But in a blowout, they may try to just pull Jacobs out, and Wilson may get the touches in an effort to kind of milk the clock. So Emmanuel Wilson, fun thing to keep an eye on, over 40 rushing yards.
This is a really good one. He's done this 2 out of the 4 games this year, and one was in a loss
Yeah.
and one was in a blowout. So you have really all ends of the spectrum here where this could happen. Parker, what's your second bet?
Alrighty, so I am going to take a special type of bet. 2 things have to happen for this bet to win. It is Lamar Jackson to score anytime and the Baltimore Ravens to win against the Bengals. and it's plus 285. So I'm
I
gonna
like
put
it.
10. I'm gonna put 10 goats worth on that to win 28.5 goats worth.
All
See, that's
right.
not as exciting as your parlay, but it makes better sense, Parker.
I mean, shoot. Lamar Jackson scores, Baltimore wins. It covers my parlay, bro. Parlay ain't
You're
nothing. Five goats, bro. 5 goats. I got like 90.
I can't wait for the parlay to hit in this one, not somehow.
Yes, you know it's going to hit some week. We're just
And
waiting
he's
for the
gonna like
week where it
score the
explodes.
touchdown, and they're not gonna. He's gonna lose this one on this in the stupidest way, and that freaking parlay is gonna hit, and I'm gonna look like a dummy. All right, my last bet. I'm also looking at the Ravens and running the ball here. I got Derrick Henry over 80 rushing yards. It's minus 135. I'm not getting good odds on this at all, but I need a win, everybody, because I'm in once again. I'm here to tell you I'm in last place in something on this show. Austin's referenced it a few times, but the leader in the clubhouse right now is Parker at over 90 goats worth. Ben or Austin is second at 76.01, as he's mentioned. Ben at 71.64, and I'm all the way down here at 58.72. So I'm going for some small wins this week. So give me Derrick Henry over 80 rushing yards against the Bengals. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. That is the BSN preview show for NFL Week 5 action. Thank you all so much for checking this out. Make sure you are following Box Score Network on Instagram at Box Score Network, Twitter at B Score Network. We live tweet games from there on Sunday, so make sure you check that out. Make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube, like and comment on this video. We would appreciate it. All you Patriots Dolphins watchers, make sure you're commenting and just give us feedback on during that game. Maybe live tweet with us. Maybe that's the game that somebody from our network is unfortunately live tweeting from. But check out all of the shows on Box Score Network as well. If you're following us at B Score Network, you'll get those updates. Thank you all so much. Enjoy your Sunday. We'll talk to you soon.